It's such a different perspective to be in a kayak on the river rather than watching it on the bank or watching a ski trip on television. It's quite different to be in the middle of the snowy forest. You can feel the cold and feel the snow. Sometimes it's really hard because I feel like I'm just sitting and observing life, and life goes on around me. I really, really miss being in nature. And I guess I found myself watching a lot of outdoor adventures and not being able to participate.
So adventure to me is doing something that gets your heart going a little bit, your heart racing, and doing something that's sort of unique and new and novel to you. And it doesn't have to be, life-threatening or dangerous in any way.
I broke my neck in 1978 up on Mount Hood and was with my friends on a trip up in the snow and slid off the road, broke my neck, and had a spinal cord injury. I had never cross-country skied before. I've wanted to go cross-country skiing just to be in the woods, going through a trail. It's so silent out, and that's such a surreal experience. Beauty of the woods covered with snow. When we arrived and got out of the van, it was starting to snow pretty good. I did not want to be cold. And I don't have a lot of gear because I haven't been able to get out in the snow for 15 years. It's always quite an ordeal for me to get all my gear on, and then to get seated into the sit ski took 3 or 4 people getting my coat and hat and getting in the sleeping bag and then strapping me on. Took a little longer than I had anticipated, but that's just what it takes to be warm and dry and safe.
How are you doing warmth-wise?
I think I'm pretty good.
Cool.
Good.
Is that right?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Cool.
Ready to sled.
There was myself and then one person pulling and one person pushing, and I felt like we were quite a team. I was making effort along with them. It was all 3 of us pushing and pulling. Before I became paralyzed, I was outdoors a lot and did a lot of rafting and kayaking and skiing, and I've been paralyzed now for 35 years, and I really, really miss being in nature.
The river today was just so calm, just glassy. We use a 2-person kayak because I'm not able to do any of the rowing just because my arms aren't strong enough. And to make the kayak more stable, we use outriggers on it. So we've devised this outrigger system that we clamp to the sides of the boat and makes it very, very stable.
I define adventure by challenging yourself and really feeling uncomfortable at times and then overcoming that. And I think that once you overcome that or you get past that point and you break through, I think that's where the adventure lies.
Whatever comes your way, comes your way, and you just have to deal with it.
I have always gone on outings with my wife, And I think it's been really good for our marriage to be able to have this kind of outlet.
There did become a point where I was starting to feel frustrated. It was always the scenic overlook kind of experience. And I was starting to feel like I want to get in the forest or in the water. I was watching people doing that, but now that I was in a relationship with Ed, that was starting to feel limited, and I was starting to get the frustration. So then you feel like I have to break away from you so I can get my needs met. But then when I was trying to break away from Ed to maybe start to do those things for myself, I knew that his spirit wanted to do those things too. So it wasn't just about breaking away, but it was about realizing he wants to do that too. And so it didn't feel so fulfilling. And then Ed came to me one day and said that he found this group, Adventures Without Limits, and that we could start taking adventures with them, and that it was also going to be fully supported.
I think a lot of relationships with someone who's paralyzed or disabled suffer because they don't get to do these kind of outdoor adventures, because it's just too much to go just the two of us and she have to do everything.
Adventure just means getting out there and challenging yourself. And then for me, it's different than for Ed. Ed's more like, what happens, happens, you know? But for me, it's the challenge of just let it go, and you don't know what's gonna happen. And I don't know what it would be like if he ever tossed in the water and fell in, and how that rescue would go. So that's the adventure piece for me, is just allowing that to be part of life.
Adventure is being out in nature on the river or up in the snow, but it's also just putting yourself up against a challenge. To be able to go out into nature and experience the snow and the mountains, the forest, gives me such a sense of participation and experience of being alive and not sitting watching and wishing that I could be out experiencing life.